My name's Kieran Phelan. I am the CEO and founder of Cloud 360 Accounting. We are based in Derry in Northern Ireland, and we were Northern Ireland's first ever Xero advisors way back in 2010. Currently, we are a team of 6 in total, and we work with around about 120 clients at the moment. The challenges we had before we started using Pixie was really around finding a practice management system that fitted in with our existing processes, that wasn't going to cost an arm and a leg in terms of money and time. And we had shopped around for a number of years looking at a couple of different products. We had been using non-accountancy specific stuff for a couple of years. We had used a couple of the other products that were on the market, but some of them were quite rigid. So they were the challenges that we really faced, and it was why I didn't use one of the more accountancy specific ones for a while. I just designed something that we could use ourselves using another sort of task management type tool, and just designed that they sit in with the existing processes that we had. So finding a product which was going to slip in easily with everything else we were doing was a big challenge. The impact of the challenges on our firm, and even for myself personally, would have been always the worry that something wasn't being properly captured. The impact as well of extra time being spent because you have your inbox coming in with all the queries coming in, and it was a matter of how can we delegate these out quickly, but also onto a system where that's where everything goes. So there was the worry and challenge of making sure that there wasn't too many systems in place and some of them unconnected, where if I'm not here and somebody else doesn't manage that part of it, that there's always going to be something falling between the stools. But we did use non-bespoke software, task management stuff, and to be fair, it did its job, but because it was non-specific, then you basically had to go in and set up all your dates, and it wasn't something that connected to the likes of Company's House and so on. And it wasn't something that, unless you were going to spend some serious money on it, that you could build your own kind of resources in the background to be able then to say, well look, this is where we're going to store stuff in relation to service delivery from now on. This is where we're going to store training videos and material like that. So that would have been all part of that process as well. The reason we chose Pixie when I initially had the demonstration was, for me, it was the user interface. It looked very, very simple and easy on the eye. And for me, that's the part that really attracted me to Pixie. Once I started going through the initial demonstration, I could see from my own experience over 10 years, I can set this up within hours. This is not going to be a problem to get up and running. And I can see the potential for the build out. At the stage that I signed up, Pixie was still developing and growing, but all the key features were there already. But I could see that dealing with Celso, dealing with Jordan, I could see there was potential, and it was going in the direction that if I was deciding it, I would do it myself anyway. So I said, look, that's the thing that it really attracted me at that point in time. In terms of the implementation of Pixie, the overall time scale was, I think I had it up and running within a day easily. But I say within a day, even at that stage, I had some workflows built in there. And I know now when you're dealing with Pixie, there's workflow templates, but I created a lot of my own workflow templates immediately because I did it during the period of lockdown, which was actually a benefit, because what I did on at certain points then was probably had the whole thing set up within half a day to a day. And then I started spending, a couple of hours every other day going, okay, what else can you do with this? Right, okay, we've got a workflow you can build on here, and I'll put it into the template library. Right, okay, start off with our VAT returns. How do we process our VAT returns? Take what we already do, plug it into Pixie. It's a checklist item, and go, brilliant, people can tick it off. And from there, then at that stage, we engaged with an offshore employee within a few months. And before that happened, I started recording videos in relation to getting those. So the overall process, in fairness, does take a number of months, but to actually get things plugged in and going, you can get it done within a day or two, but you just have to stay on the system and bear with it for 1 to 3 months. And I say bear with it, it's just a matter of making yourself more and more familiar with what you can do in terms of the features. It's the outcomes in terms of the experience of using Pixie. The things I really like about it is the whole workflow template stuff. And it's the ability to design that yourself, as opposed to other packages that I have looked at. It's very rigid. You can build things around that. I mean, some of the other packages I looked at and used before Jordan would have had too many things, for example, on a dashboard. It would have had all of the underlying steps within a job or a task coming up on a dashboard. So you might have several dozen sort of things sitting in relation to VAT returns, whereas in actual fact, it might only be a dozen VAT returns that are needing to be done. They're just all at a different stage. So what I really liked in Pixie was the ability to label, create your own labels. What stage are we not started? Is the books received? Have we started this process? Is it ready for review? Is it now reviewed by me or a client manager? Has the client approved it? So doing all of those things I really liked, but just the ability to be able to design it to suit your own circumstances as opposed to something being a bit too much out of the box was what really attracted me. And that's a big benefit, is what we've designed initially has roughly stayed the same because our processes are still the same anyway, but we're just still building on it as well because we've now got the wee checkbox facility beside all the sort of subtask steps, and we've obviously been building our video material into that as well. Definitely did over the course of the last year, especially when we had an offshore employee. It really did help improve our efficiency, and it reduced any time that I might have to dip in to just confirm what the overall processing is. The team are able to just read what's there and follow that, albeit you're always thinking on your feet because we're all working in the sort of knowledge industry as well. But having an offshore employee and saying, look, this is how we do this, can you watch these videos, give it a go, and let's have a look and see where you're at and come back to me. So it's the ability then to grow and expand your team, which we're currently trying to do as well. But I know bringing somebody in at a certain level with a relevant amount of experience, they'll be able to see what we've already done on Pixie in terms of this is how we do things based on our cloud system that we have with Xero at the core for all the service delivery, but we've all our things obviously plugged into it. And Pixie kind of just sits on top of that, just keeping a record and monitoring all of that as well. So it has certainly brought a lot of peace of mind to me personally.